In the violent theater of combat sports, every era gives birth to one. One fighter who doesn't just compete, he consumes. Khamzat Chimaev is that one. He doesn't walk into fights to test skill or play chess with gloves. He walks in like a reckoning, a cold, calculated storm disguised as a man. While others rise through rankings, Chimaev leaves trails of broken bones and shattered dreams. From the very first moment he entered the UFC, it was clear. This was not a fighter you beat. This was a force you survived. And even that felt like a fantasy. Because when the cage door locks, he doesn't fight, he hunts. His journey begins in the ashes of war, in Chechnya, a place where childhoods end before they start. There were no games, no playgrounds, only rubble, grief, and the sound of survival. Chimaev didn't grow up chasing dreams. He grew up dodging nightmares. Hunger, loss, and trauma became his earliest trainers. That forged something no gym could teach, a mindset not built on sport, but survival. While others learned discipline, he learned pain. And when the world finally gave him gloves, he didn't put them on to box. He put them on to a race. The man you see today is not a product of training. He's a product of war. At 16, he escaped that war zone and landed in Sweden, carrying only his scars and fire. With no money and no direction, he worked in construction, factories, and nightclubs just to survive. But under the crushing weight of poverty, he discovered wrestling, and suddenly the violence had purpose. He trained while exhausted, bled while broke, and climbed without support. When he finally earned a job in a prison, it wasn't safety that saved him. It was time. For the first time, he could train full-time. And that's when the monster inside him started to grow teeth. Not the kind that bite, the kind that end careers. He didn't just enter MMA, he invaded it. In Europe, he destroyed opponents like they were training dummies, including Ikram Aliskerov, a feared name crushed in minutes. It wasn't the wins that shocked people, it was the way he won. He ragdolled contenders, played with professionals like toys, and when the UFC noticed, they didn't expect a legend. But in just 10 days, Chimaev fought and finished 2 men, barely touched, barely sweating. By the time he knocked out Gerald Meerschaert in 17 seconds, there were no more questions. There was only fear. And the scariest part, he wasn't even trying to impress. But then came the crash. COVID-19 hit him like a freight train. Blood in his lungs, hospital beds, retirement announcements. The man who seemed immortal suddenly looked human. Fans mourned the fall. But monsters don't die easy. A single call from Chechnya's president pulled him back, and when he returned, it wasn't for redemption. It was for vengeance. He submitted his opponent in the first round, collected another bonus, and reminded the world, "I'm still here, and I'm still hungry." But the real test had yet to come. That test wore the name Gilbert Burns.
Burns was no fool.
A veteran, a savage, a man who fought champions.
Round 1 exploded. Fists flew, chaos reigned. Burns landed, so did Chimaev.
It was a war. For the first time, blood poured from Chimaev's face. He staggered, he bled. But he didn't back up, he didn't crack, he roared forward. Winning by decision in a fight that showed he wasn't just a destroyer, he was unbreakable.
But critics whispered, no finish? Maybe the legend's been exaggerated.
So Chimaev did what he always does. He answered not with words, but with violence.
The Nate Diaz fiasco threw gasoline on the fire, weight issues, canceled fights, chaos backstage. The event nearly imploded.
But when Chimaev stepped in against Kevin Holland, all the noise disappeared.
A rapid takedown, a suffocating choke, and 2 minutes later, silence.
No build-up, no storytelling, just a clinical reminder of who runs the food chain. Still, the doubt lingered. Can he stay at welterweight? Is he fading? Chimaev didn't explain. He escalated. He moved up to middleweight. New division, new victims. His first target, Paulo Costa. Trash talk brewed, anticipation soared. But fate intervened. Costa pulled out.
And a Birdman!
Enter Kamaru Usman, the Nigerian nightmare, a former champion known for cardio, strength, and composure. For 3 rounds, Chimaev pushed through a broken hand. He won. But for the first time, fans saw him tired, vulnerable.
Mortal.
They didn't cheer. They questioned. Is the storm slowing? And then came the answer. Robert Whittaker, the Reaper.
A cold, calculated killer.
Elite striking, former champion, the man who many believed would be Chimaev's wall. But that wall crumbled fast.
Khamzat mauled him. Took him down, broke his jaw with a choke so tight, it wasn't even fully locked in. The tap was quick, the silence was deafening.
Even Dana White admitted, Whitaker didn't just lose, he got dismantled. In that moment, the whispers died. Because you don't question hurricanes, you board the windows and pray. And now, everything leads to one man, Dricus du Plessis, the South African force who rose through grit and pain, a champion built through dogfights and underdog wins. But standing across from him is not just a contender, it's a nightmare, a symbol of something primal.
As it is, Khamzat isn't fighting for the belt, he's fighting to confirm what we all suspect, that the belt was always his. That every fight, every storm, every scar was leading to this.
And when that cage door shuts in Chicago, one thing will be clear. This isn't a title defense, it's a title surrender.
There's a certain kind of fear that lingers in a fighter's eyes long after the cage is locked. It's not about nerves or doubt.
To erase, to make you question why you ever put gloves on. Fighters prepare their entire careers to defend takedowns, counterstrikes, survive submissions. But there's no preparation for Khamzat's pressure. It's not technical, it's psychological. From the moment he walks forward, your exit strategy starts dissolving. And by the time you realize it, it's already too late. Look at the aftermath. Gilbert Burns, a war-hardened contender, vanished for months. Whitaker's jaw was shattered. Usman, once the pound-for-pound king, looked like a man walking out of a furnace. These weren't just losses, they were career-altering collisions. And what's more chilling is how little Chimaev celebrates. No outbursts, no gloating, just calm destruction, as if breaking elite fighters is simply what he's designed to do, as if he's more machine than man. And maybe he is, because when pain is the foundation of your life, you stop fearing it. You start using it. This is why the UFC can't ignore him. They didn't build Chimaev's hype. He did. Every win, every ragdolling, every savage finish, he forced the narrative. The promotion simply followed. But they know what they have. A headline magnet, a silent storm, a fighter who doesn't need 10 interviews to sell a fight. He just needs 10 seconds in the cage. The hype isn't artificial, it's earned. And with every step closer to UFC 305, the tension grows, because du Plessis may have the belt, but everyone knows who holds the fear. Dricus isn't soft. He's been through his own wars. His road to the top wasn't easy. He's awkward, relentless, and undeniably tough. But he hasn't fought Chimaev. He hasn't felt what it's like to be hunted by a man who treats every round like a sentence to be served. Du Plessis has cardio, power, and unorthodox rhythm, but Khamzat has inevitability, and that's a different beast. The real question isn't, can Dricus win? It's, can he survive long enough to make it competitive? Because when Chimaev decides to turn up the pressure, it's not a matter of if the cracks form, it's when. And beyond the cage, the mythology grows. Fans don't just watch Khamzat, they analyze him like a legend in the making. They dissect every fight, every expression, every shift in stance. Because deep down, we're witnessing something rare. A fighter who might not just win titles, but redefine dominance. The way Khabib did, the way John Jones once did. The kind of legacy that forces future contenders to mold their entire careers just to one day have a chance at survival. And Khamzat isn't even in his prime yet. Yet even with all the talk of legacy, Khamzat remains rooted in something raw. Pain, war, loss. He's not chasing GOAT status, he's chasing ghosts. Every time he steps into that cage, it's a purge, a way to silence the childhood screams, When you've survived hell, what's a title fight? Just another chance to breathe through fists instead of tears. The analysts will break down stats, reach, takedown accuracy, submission attempts, but none of that measures what makes Chimaev terrifying. It's not his technique, it's his intention. He doesn't want to win rounds. He wants to leave something permanent, a reminder, a mark. So even if you do survive, you'll carry the fight on your face, in your bones,
in the quiet moments afterward when your brain replays every second of helplessness.